What's happening, people? So I was not able to talk to you guys today. Shout out to Tommy Temper and Get the Smoke, guys. I don't think I can at least, contact you guys via your inbox because of the technology I'm using. It's a different phone. My phone is down for the moment. I'm trying to get that fixed. I'm using a different phone. I'm also using some technology via the television, so that's why you see I have a smart TV, and that smart TV can pull up the internet. It's pretty cool. So I'm using those two things, but the technology that's necessary to do the things I really like to do, keep in contact with you guys, is very difficult to do. Let me talk to the rest of the fans out there. Remember, you can subscribe to my channel. Don't forget, not only subscribe, if you want to donate to my channel, you can do so. Comment, the whole 9 yards. I can't do live stream either on this phone, unfortunately. Let me get into a lot of shit went down today, didn't it? Today was quite a day. Start with the Pacquiao news. Manny Pacquiao talks about the fact that he's not going to be facing Jeff Horn. He's not going to be rematching Keith Thurman, but he most indefinitely would open up and entertain any of the Garcias facing them, and of course Floyd Mayweather. Of course, we saw that Floyd Mayweather's training, which is pretty interesting. He's been training all along, but he's been training, and we saw footage of him training for Manny Pacquiao. And Helen Yee, she interviewed Floyd Mayweather Sr., who's supposed to be inducted to the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame tomorrow. And Floyd Mayweather Sr. was talking about how he thinks Floyd is definitely going to come back into boxing. He doesn't know when, but he's going to come back and he's going to fight definitely. He says because he's constantly training all the time. It's very interesting, and again gives us some sort of idea that Maypac 2 is going to happen probably at the end of 2020. So I think that Manny Pacquiao is going to come back in January and face either Mikey or Danny Garcia, which I think are very good picks. Danny Garcia preferably. Now, Danny Garcia is going to be very dangerous, but nonetheless, I would like to see that because Mikey Garcia came off a loss to Errol Spence. I wouldn't want to see Manny Pacquiao fight somebody who came off a loss. I prefer if Manny Pacquiao faced a guy that came off a win, and Danny Garcia came off a sensational win against Adrian Granados. So I would love to see Pacquiao against him. It's a dangerous fight, but nonetheless, that would be a good fight for him. Definitely. It's also a good fight for Terrence Crawford, by the way. Hint, hint. But I would say this, that Danny Garcia ain't got nobody at present. Mikey Garcia ain't got nobody at present. Some other guys who ain't got nobody at present are, they're just sitting down waiting. Some other guy that's sitting down waiting. It was Danny and Mikey. Somebody else at welterweight. I can't remember who it was. But anyway, the other news is that Anthony Joshua is facing Andy Ruiz December the 7th. That's what the Zone said, and Matchroom added in Saudi Arabia, Dubai, Saudi Arabia. You know where Amir Khan fought. So that's pretty interesting, and that is a neutral event. Plenty of money can flow there. That should be interesting. Of course, we heard Anthony Joshua talking about his statements concerning Andy Ruiz. Andy Ruiz also saying his statements about Anthony Joshua. Different people like Joel Diaz saying that he thinks that Anthony Joshua will win this fight. Other people having other opinions that Andy Ruiz will do just the same thing that he did in the first fight and stop Anthony Joshua. So we'll see. I don't know. I think Anthony Joshua looks ready. I think he's taking Andy Ruiz very, very seriously this time around. We'll see. With respect to some other fights out there and some other interesting things that are going on, of course, Virgil Ortiz is going to be facing Orozco this weekend. I looked at the weigh-ins. They look good, so it's about time for them to get ready to rumble. It should be interesting. With respect to some other things and other fights that we should talk about, obviously Canelo is a statement put out that he's kind of waiting for the winner to watch to see who would win against Kovalev versus Anthony Yarde. Honestly, I don't think he should wait. I think he should face Demetrius Andrade. That's the guy that's standing right in front of his face. Now, even though Dante's Boxing Nation said that it doesn't look like he's going to face Demetrius Andrade and it's official, it's not actually official. Actually, Demetrius Andrade still could face Canelo Alvarez, and I'm pushing for that fight. That's the fight Canelo should face. Even though I've heard Ronnie Shields talking about the dream fight he wants to have is with Charlo and Canelo. I noticed Ronnie Shields was not heavy on Canelo for being franchise champion, saying he deserved to be franchise champion, which is very interesting. But what I'm going to say, though, is Canelo being franchise champion, I still want to know if if Canelo's in a unification and the opposing guy, like say for instance, if Demetrius Andrade was to beat Canelo, he's not going to get the franchise championship from him. What's he going to get? Is he going to get the WBC belt from him? I want to know. So I would like the president of the WBC Maurice Suleiman to clarify this issue, because that's a very important issue. I know if Canelo beats Demetrius Andrade, he gets the WBO belt, but what does that mean? The opposite way around, if Demetrius Andrade was to beat Canelo. So we heard about that, and that's also very interesting. Of course, Reggie's Progress is pulling out of the World Boxing Super Series at super lightweight, which is very interesting because he's suing the company because they seem to not have received funds to him or something like that. So that they were supposed to do contractually. So that's very interesting in and of itself. He was supposed to face Josh Taylor. So we'll see if he stays in the Super Series or he stays out of the Super Series. You know, it's still preliminary and whatever is going on. We'll see what happens in the end. Listening to Top Rank interview, not Top Rank, sorry. Listening to Max Kellerman interview Tevin Farmer. I thought that was very interesting as well, that interview he had with Tevin Farmer. And Tevin Farmer is actually a free agent right now. And guess what? Gervonta Davis is also a free agent right now. So both of them are actually free agents right at this point in time, which is very interesting. We'll see what happens with that. Tevin Farmer is talking about re-signing with DAZN, which is very interesting in and of itself. Gervonta Davis hasn't said anything about re-signing with Showtime or anything like that. And Gervonta Davis, they say that eyes are on Tevin Farmer now. They want to go get Tevin Farmer. So we'll see what really happens at the end of the day with that. If he'll face Tevin Farmer next. If he'll face Yurkus Gamboa. If Tevin Farmer's going to face Jojo Diaz. Because Tevin Farmer seems to be talking a lot about Jojo Diaz. So I don't know if he's going to look to face Jojo Diaz. If he's going to just have one little short segment of a contract. One fight by one fight basis. And face Jojo Diaz. If Gervonta Davis is going to also have a one fight basis with Showtime. Face Yurkus Gamboa. I don't know what's going to happen, but of course the goal is for them both to face each other. What's interesting is in that division, Miguel Barachelt, I was listening to what's the kid's name that moved up? So the former IBF champion at featherweight, all right, which is I can't remember his name. I don't know why Victor Ortiz keeps on coming through my mind. It's not him. It's shit. I forgot his name. The kid that Steven shit. The kid from Top Rank. Oh shit. Stevenson. Stevenson was supposed to face this guy. You know what I'm talking about, right? The kid from Top Rank who trained with Andre Ward and Andre Ward's trainer, Virgil Hunter. Him. Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson was supposed to face Valdez, right? Oscar Valdez. Well, Oscar Valdez is going to be moving up to super featherweight. So he's going to go up to 130. And there, he's talking about all the names up there, but he said he wants to get his eyes on Miguel Barachelt. And Miguel Barachelt, of course, he's the WBC champion. And the WBC has promoted, actually, Oscar Valdez to the -- contender. He's not a mandatory, I don't think, but he's the #1 contender. Whereas Shakur Stevenson was the mandatory for Oscar Valdez in the IBF. So Shakur Stevenson will actually be facing somebody else for that IBF title, which leads me to another very interesting thing that I heard, a development, which has to do with Devin Haney. Devin Haney is actually the mandatory right now for also an IBF title, I believe it is. Or no, WBC title. The WBC title. He's the mandatory for the WBC. It's right now vacant. The vacant WBC title at lightweight, which Lomachenko will be facing the British kid, which I don't know why I'm forgetting his name right now. Lomachenko will be facing that British kid in addition to the other belts that Lomachenko has. And what I find very interesting about this is the British kid has said that he would face Devin Haney if he beats Lomachenko. Lomachenko hasn't said anything about facing Devin Haney, which I find is interesting. Devin Haney's not been in the game very long, but it's possible that Devin Haney, because he put himself in a particular position, could get a shot at Lomachenko before Teofimo Lopez. And Teofimo Lopez, you know, he was talking about not really facing Richard Comey because he didn't think he was ready. Richard Comey has just been ordered by the IBF to face Teofimo Lopez. Whether Teofimo Lopez will go for that or not, I don't know. But that's where that's going. So that all of these developments have happened over the course of today, which I think is really cool. I want to hear what you guys have to say. Also, I'm going to do another set of